the world is going insane, really. The interest that Treasury pays on bonds goes to the central bank, and then the central bank sends most of it back to the Treasury. Japan has been running this experiment for 30 years and it's not working really well, which is why $1 buys 159 yen. That's what currency debasement looks like. The UK is next because the UK shows what's happening when politicians are exposed to heavy doses of lead in their formative years. September 2022, all right, I'm going to heat it up. I'm just going to bring it down for a sec. So September of 2022, the Truss government announced unfunded tax cuts on a Friday afternoon. The gilt market revolted within hours. Gilts are what the UK calls bonds because it likes to be different, whatever. UK pension funds, which were leveraged into the gilt market, the bond market, nearly collapsed across the following week. It was an absolute disaster. The Bank of England had to step in with tens of billions in emergency intervention just to stop the unwind. So the lesson everyone took from that, because the whole world takes lessons from the UK's screw-ups. That's usually how this thing works. The lesson everyone took from that was not that you cannot run large deficits. The lesson was that you have to do it more carefully, with the central bank standing ready to catch the bond market when it stumbles. So Germany's next, because Germany shows us that even the disciplined ones eventually have to fold in this reality that we've built. For 2 decades, Germany held a constitutional debt brake. It was the most fiscally disciplined large economy in the world. It was brilliant, actually. A debt brake is exactly what it sounds like. They pump the brakes on debt if it gets too high. I mean, it's a bit more complicated than that, but roughly. In March of 2025, the Bundestag, which is the political thing, voted a 2/3 majority to suspend it. Right? 500 billion in new debt for infrastructure defense spending above 1% of GDP. It got exempted from the brake entirely. So Germany built its national identity around fiscal discipline. It made it the strongest economy in Europe, and then it just decided to cancel it. The new chancellor cited Ukraine and the breakdown of the US-EU relationship as the main reason. But the reasons matter less than the precedent that it sets. Once you breach a constitutional debt brake, it's gone. It's over, right? And finally, the US, with a new Fed chair, just told us in public that the accord that has kept inflation roughly under control since 1951 is at odds with recent practice. And by the way, I know saying that inflation has been roughly under control since 1951 sounds like a bit of a joke, because it's not really that under control, but compared to the supposed plan that they want to implement now, we'll remember the last 70 years pretty fondly. By the way, guys, if you want to stay updated with what's happening on the markets and my personal strategies, make sure you subscribe to my free newsletter. Like I said, it's free. I publish a report on everything you need to know about the markets every single morning. Basically, I read 20 to 30 articles, I summarize them so you don't have to. There's a link below.